My name is Lily. I am 29 years old. This is the story of how I left the man I loved. I did not say goodbye. I did not even send a message. I just took a flight. I went far away. Started 2 years ago. I met a man named Mark. He was kind and smart. He made me laugh. He said nice things to me. I felt happy with him. Thought he was the one. First, everything felt good. We went for walks. We cooked together. We talked for hours. He told me I was special. I believed him. I gave him my heart. After 6 months, he moved into my flat. I was happy. I wanted to build a life with him. Cleaned the house. I made dinner. I helped him when he was tired. Thought this was love. But something changed. Mark started coming home late. He said he was busy. He looked at his phone a lot. He stopped asking how I felt. He started to feel far from me. I asked him, "Are you okay?" He just said, "I'm tired." He did not want to talk. He sat in silence. I tried to smile. I tried to stay calm. But I felt sad inside. One night I found a message on his phone. It was from a woman. She said, "I miss you." My hands were cold. My heart beat fast. I wanted to scream, but I stayed quiet. I asked him, "Who is she?" He said, "She's just a friend." I asked again. He said, "Don't start a fight." I knew he was lying. But I still stayed. I still hoped. Days passed. Then weeks. He changed more and more. He stopped calling me by my name. He stopped holding my hand. I started to feel small, like I did not matter. I stopped sleeping well. I looked at the ceiling at night. I thought, what happened to us? He slept next to me, but it felt like he was not there. One day I cooked his favorite food. He came home and said, "I ate already." He did not say thank you. He did not look at me. I sat at the table and cried. I called my friend Amy. I said, "I don't know what to do." She said, "Lily, this is not love. This is pain." I knew she was right. But I was afraid. I still loved him. I told Mark, "I feel lonely." He said, "You're too emotional." I said, "I need to talk." He said, "I'm busy." That night, I cried in the shower so he wouldn't hear me. Then something happened. I saw him at a cafe with the same woman. He was smiling. He held her hand. My chest hurt. I turned and walked away before he saw me. Home, I packed a small bag. I sat on my bed for hours. I looked out the window. I thought about my life. I thought about my dreams. I thought about the girl I used to be. I had a passport in the drawer. I had some money saved. I opened my laptop and looked at flights. I saw one that left in the morning. I clicked buy. I did not tell Mark. I did not leave a note. I left my keys on the table. I closed the door slowly. I walked down the stairs with my bag in my hand. I took a taxi to the airport. At the airport, I sat near the gate. I looked at my phone. No calls. No messages. I felt sad but also free. The plane arrived. I stood up. I took a deep breath. I walked toward the gate. That was the last time I saw my city. That was the last time I saw Mark. I'm sharing my story, hoping they reach someone. Are you there? Are you listening? Just knowing you're here means everything. The flight was long. I did not sleep. I sat by the window and watched the sky. I felt many things: fear, pain, and a little hope. My heart was heavy, but my hands felt light. I had no ring, no picture, no goodbye. Only my bag and my name. When the plane landed, I stepped out and felt the cold air. It was a new city, a new country. I had never been here before. I chose this place because I knew no one here. I wanted a place with no past. Place to start again. I went to a small flat I found online. It was clean but simple. One bed, one table, a tiny kitchen. I sat on the floor. I looked around. I was safe. I was alone. I took a deep breath. I whispered, "This is my life now." The first few days were hard. I woke up early. I walked outside and tried to learn the streets. I did not know the language well, but I tried. I smiled at people. Some smiled back. Some did not. I found a small job in a cafe. Not the kind that brings flowers or music. Just a plain place where people came for tea and bread. The owner was quiet but kind. He gave me simple tasks. Wash dishes, clean tables, carry trays. I said thank you every time. Each night I walked home alone. The streets were cold. The lights were soft. I thought about Mark. Not because I missed him, but because he still lived inside my mind. His voice, his words, his lies. They came back in pieces. One night I opened my phone. I saw his name. He had sent me a message. Just one. It said, "Where are you?" I stared at the screen. I did not reply. I turned the phone off and placed it face down. I did not want him to know this new world. This world was mine now. The days turned to weeks. I learned the names of streets. I learned how to say hello and thank you in the local language. I started to sleep better. Ate simple food. I drank tea at night. Began to feel okay. But the pain was still there, deep inside. I saw couples walk by and felt a sting. I saw a man give his jacket to his wife. I saw a woman rest her head on her husband's shoulder. It hurt even though I smiled. One rainy day I met someone at the cafe. His name was James. He came often. He sat alone and read books. He never looked around. Just his tea and his book. One time I said, "Your tea is hot." He looked up and smiled. "Thank you," he said. The next day he came back. He said, "Cold outside." I said, "Yes, very cold." It was not much, but it felt nice. Few words. A short smile. Quiet moment. He did not ask questions. He did not ask where I was from. He did not ask about my past. That felt good. I did not want to speak about the pain. I just wanted peace. We started talking more. Just small things. Weather. One day he asked, "Do you like to walk?" I said, "Yes." He smiled and said, "Maybe we can walk one day." He nodded. The next Sunday we walked by the river. It was cold but the sun was out. We talked about simple things, trees, sky, shoes. I laughed once. Real laugh. I did not expect it. Came from deep inside. He looked at me and said, "That's a nice sound." I looked away. James was kind. He never touched me. He never rushed me. He never asked more than I could give. For the first time in a long time I felt seen. Not as someone's girlfriend. Not as someone who cried. Just as Lily. But I was still afraid. One evening he said, "You don't talk about your past." I looked at my tea. I said, "There's not much to say." He said, "That's okay." After that we sat in silence. Not a heavy silence. Soft one. Like a quiet song. I liked that. He did not push. He let me be. One night I had a dream. In the dream I was back with Mark. We were in the flat. I was cooking. He was on his phone. I asked, "Do you love me?" He said nothing. I woke up with tears on my face. I sat up and looked around. This was not that flat. This was not that life. I was in a new place. I was not that girl anymore. I was tired of crying over someone who never saw me. The next day I went to the cafe and saw James. I walked over and sat with him. I said, "I left someone. I left without a word." He broke me. I had to go. He looked at me quiet. Then he said, "I'm glad you left." I looked at him surprised. He smiled. "You're here now," he said. "That's what matters." His words were soft, but they stayed with me. "I'm glad you left." I thought about them all night. No one had ever said that to me before. A few weeks later I got a message from Mark again. This time he wrote more. He said, "I miss you. Please come back." I read the message 3 times. Felt nothing. Not hate. Not love. Just silence. I did not reply. I sat by my window and looked at the night sky. I was still alone. But I was not broken. Had a job. Had peace. I had a friend named James. And most of all I had myself. I was no longer the girl who waited. I was the woman who left. Spring came. The days were warmer. The sun stayed longer. Flowers began to grow along the path by the river. I started to smile more. Not because everything was perfect, but because I was still standing. I was healing step by step. One Sunday James and I walked again. We stopped near a small bridge. I looked down at the water. He stood beside me in silence. "You look better," he said. "I feel better," I replied. He smiled. "I can see that." I wanted to tell him more. I wanted to say thank you. But the words were stuck. So I just looked at him and smiled back. That was enough. In the weeks that followed we spent more time together. We sat on park benches. We ate simple lunches. He told me stories about his childhood. I listened. I did not talk about mine. But he never asked. That made me feel safe. One night he brought me a small bag of tea. "You said you liked this kind," he said. My hands trembled a little as I took it. "Thank you," I said. My voice was quiet. He looked into my eyes. "You're welcome, Lily." That night I sat in my kitchen with the tea. I watched the steam rise from the cup. I thought about how far I had come. I was not happy yet, but I was not lost. I was learning to breathe again. Then something happened. I saw him. I was walking to work. I turned a corner. And there he was. Mark. He was standing near a bus stop. He looked just the same. Same coat. Same eyes. Same phone in his hand. My heart stopped. My legs froze. I stared at him. He looked up and saw me. He blinked. His mouth opened. He took a step forward. "Lily." I turned and walked fast. I did not stop. I did not look back. My heart beat fast. My breath was short. I walked until my legs hurt. At work I stood in the back room. My hands shook. Why was he here? How did he find me? My new world did not feel safe anymore. That night I did not sleep. I stared at the ceiling. My chest felt heavy. Old fears came back. Old memories. His voice. His silence. His lies. The next day I got a message. From Mark. "I saw you. Please talk to me." I turned my phone off. I sat at the table and held my tea. My hands were cold. I told James the next day. We were sitting on a bench near the river. "I saw someone from before," I said. He looked at me. He waited. I left him. But now he's here. James did not ask who. He did not ask why. He said, "Do you feel safe?" I shook my head. "Do you want to stay here?" I was quiet. "I don't know." He looked at the water. "You don't have to stay. And you don't have to leave. But you do have to choose what's best for you." That night I walked home and thought about what he said. I'd come so far. But now Mark was here. And I felt small again. 2 days later, Mark came to the cafe. He stood at the door and looked at me. "Lily," he said. Froze. The owner looked at me. "Do you want me to tell him to leave?" he asked. He nodded. Mark tried to speak again, but the owner walked to him and said, "Please go." Mark left. My hands were shaking. I went to the back and sat on a stool. I put my face in my hands. My world was shaking again. I did not go to work the next day. I stayed in bed. I closed the curtains. I did not eat. I did not speak. I felt tired in my bones. In the evening I got a knock on the door. "Lily." James's voice. I opened the door a little. He looked at me. "Are you okay?" I shook my head. He stepped inside and sat down. He did not ask anything. He just waited. Finally I spoke. "I feel scared." "That's okay," he said. "I don't want to see Mark." "You don't have to. I want to feel strong again." "You are." I looked at him. "I don't feel strong." "You left," he said. "That was strength. You stayed alone. That was strength. You built a new life. That was strength." Tears filled my eyes. "But now he's here. And I feel weak." "You're not weak," he said. "You're tired." "That's different." Cried then. Not loud. Just soft tears that ran down my face. James sat with me. He did not move. He did not speak. He just stayed. After some time I whispered, "Thank you." He smiled. "Any time." The next day I went to the cafe. I stood behind the counter. My hands still shook a little, but I stayed. The owner looked at me and gave me a warm nod. He said, "Good to see you." Mark did not come back. But I knew he could. So I made a choice. Found a new place to live. A little farther from the center. Smaller street. Quieter area. I moved there within a week. I also found a new job. Still in the same city. Still simple. But new faces, new street, new air. I told James, "I need to start fresh again." He said, "Then do it." "Will you still see me?" Yes. He smiled. "Of course." Smiled too. Small smile. True one. One evening as I unpacked in the new flat, I saw something in my bag. Small photo. Just me. From years ago. I looked young. Hopeful. I stared at the photo and whispered, "You made it." I placed it inside a drawer. Not because I wanted to forget the past, but because I did not want to live there anymore. This was my second start. And this time I would not let fear follow me. My new flat was small but quiet. It had a window with a view of trees. Birds sang in the morning. At night, the lights outside were soft. Felt safe there. That was enough for me. James came by often. He brought tea. Sometimes fruit. Sometimes just his smile. He never stayed too long. He never asked for more than I could give. But he always came when I needed peace. One day he asked, "Do you still think about him?" I was quiet for a moment. "Yes. But not in the same way." James nodded. "That's normal." "I used to cry," I said. "Now I just feel nothing." "That's healing," he said. We sat on the floor. The window was open. Breeze came in. I looked at him and said, I never thought I could leave. But I did. James smiled. That's the best part of your story. No, I said. The best part is I didn't go back. Time passed. Weeks turned into months. I worked. I cooked. I walked in the park. I started to feel strong in a quiet way. I didn't need loud words or big plans. I just needed my space and my peace. Mark did not try to reach me again. Maybe he gave up. Maybe he found someone else. It did not matter to me anymore. Sometimes I thought about the girl I used to be. The girl who waited at the window. The girl who cooked and cried and hoped. I wanted to tell her something. You will leave. You will survive. You will be okay. That thought gave me peace. One sunny afternoon, James asked me to meet him by the river. I wore a soft dress and simple shoes. I did not wear makeup. I did not need to hide anything. Not anymore. He stood near the bench where we always met. He had 2 cups of tea in his hands. He smiled when he saw me. You came, he said. Of course. We sat together. Birds flew by. Children laughed in the distance. James looked at me. His eyes were warm. I want to tell you something, he said. I looked at him. You are the strongest person I know. I felt my throat tighten. I don't feel strong every day. That's okay, he said. You don't have to. You just have to keep going. I looked at the river. Sometimes I think about leaving again. He paused. Do you want to? I shook my head. Not because I'm afraid. Just because I wonder if there's more. There is always more, he said. But you don't have to run to find it. His words stayed with me. Later that week I got a call from a school. They needed someone to help with English practice. Nothing big. Just talking with students. Simple things. Said yes. The children were kind. They asked easy questions. They laughed when I made silly mistakes in their language. They helped me learn too. One little girl said, "You have kind eyes." Smiled. Thank you. That night I looked in the mirror. My face was the same. But I saw something new. I saw someone who was still trying. Still healing. Still moving forward. I saw Lily. Not the girl who stayed. Not the girl who cried. Not the girl who ran. The woman who chose peace. One evening, James and I walked to a small fair near the park. Music played. People danced. We did not join them. We just watched. He said, "Do you ever want to love again?" I looked up at the stars. "I don't know." He said, "If you ever do, I hope it's with someone who sees you." I looked at him. "I think I already do." He did not speak. But his hand touched mine. Not hard. Not fast. Just gentle. I did not pull away. We stood like that for a long time. Months passed. My life felt steady. Not easy but steady. I helped at the school. I made simple dinners. I went to the market. I saw James. We talked. We laughed. We said little things that meant a lot. Then one morning I woke up and felt something new. Felt light. Like the pain was a memory. Not a weight. Not a wound. Made tea. I stood by the window. I watched the sun rise. And I smiled. I had taken a flight without telling him. But that flight saved my life. I left without a plan. But I found something better than a plan. Found myself. I may never forget the pain. I may never forget Mark's lies or the nights I cried. But I will also never forget the moment I said, "Enough," and walked away. I will never forget the girl who packed a bag, booked a flight and left. She was scared. But she was brave. And I am proud of her. I hope you have enjoyed the story. Like and comment if you want to hear more soon.